We're talking to Robert Wilmore of the Whatcom Association of Celestial Observers here at Zuanich Park.
Yep.
Having fun, seeing the moon, seeing the sun. It's an amazing sight. So many people have stopped by to check this thing out. Now, it started in 1988, the WACO, right?
Yep.
WACO. Who started it?
Craig was his name, and he was one of the founders.
Okay.
And he started it at his house back in 1988.
And how did you get involved, Robert?
I did my best to get involved by trying to bring my telescopes and join them, but they always set up during the time that I was working. I work at UPS, and so I just couldn't manage to get the schedule down. But there was one night where I had the day off, and they were out here doing their telescope stuff, and I joined them. It was so much fun. I actually ran into some people that I worked with, surprisingly, and they had telescopes. I didn't know that they were into astronomy. His name was Sam, he's the vice president, and I got to meet everybody there, and then they told me, you know, if you join the club, you can borrow our telescopes. That's what pulled me in. But it was the outreach, the sharing the telescopes with everybody that I was really enamored with, and so I ended up just joining them simply for that, and I slowly started to just sort of take over the outreach situation here. A lot of fun.
And a lot of people stopped by and saw everything and had a great time and were amazed at what they saw. Sunspots, volcanoes, the moon with all the craters on it. Now, there's no man in the moon, but it's pretty good though. Now,
It was founded by Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan, Cosmos, you gotta watch it. Get the DVD out of the library or something, but it's wonderful.
And his books, Cosmos and the Pale Blue Dot, those are really good books, as well as all his other books. Billions and Billions, and A Candle in the Dark, what was it? A Demon Haunted World, his sci-fi Contact, they're so much fun. And also Neil deGrasse Tyson's books and all the other books. But yeah, Carl started the Planetary Society because him and a couple of other astronomers, I don't know their names off the top of my head, because the United States was not able to fund the missions that they were interested in. They wanted to explore the cosmos and the solar system mainly, and there just wasn't enough financial push for this. And so they said, well, let's start an organization and start bringing in money. And they did, and they get my money now. So,
and you saw the eclipse, and you've got a special badge here, which I love. Covers the moon and all that, sun, and how close were you to the actual totality?
Oh boy, we were 0.17 miles away from the center line of totality. So it was just right over our head that the whole shadow came over us. Amazing, it was so cool. And we got all 4 minutes of totality at Aquila, Texas, near Waco, at the Latham Springs Camp Center.
Did you film it?
Yes, I do. I have a time lapse.
We're going to get the film for Adventures with Leo Schumaker on Channel 10 here and present it to you out there. Now tell us about the telescopes.
Oh, this is one of our babies. Our 5th telescope, our 5th 10-inch Dobsonian that we're planning on donating, hopefully maybe to a national park or something. We haven't quite figured it out yet. The last telescope, Isaac, got donated to the Seaholm High School. This one is named Caroline, after Caroline Herschel, and it's a 10-inch Dobsonian telescope. So what that means is you have 10 inches of mirror in there to look at. And that's the diameter of the mirror. So the lens is actually way back here. The light comes into the telescope, hits that mirror, gets focused into a cone, hits this secondary mirror that's in here. That's what Isaac Newton came up with. That was his contribution to the design. That's why we call it a Newtonian telescope. Now that light that's trying to get out of the telescope is going to get instead shoved out a hole here and then into your eye. This is a magnifying glass that's zooming in on it for us. So it's like a big makeup mirror with a flat mirror here angled out at 45 degrees, so that way we don't have to use the makeup mirror to see things behind us. That way I don't have to do this to try and look at space. Instead, I can do this.
What's the name of this telescope?
Oh boy. All right. Well, this is Niven's, the White Rabbit. We like to follow the White Rabbit. And it's the follow-up to the telescope that used to be on here, Alice, for Alice in Wonderland. That was a blue telescope. We're looking at the sun. And right now, it has a white light filter on the front of it. This is to block out a lot of the harmful rays that would hurt your eye while looking at the sun. I could remove this and cook my eye if I wanted to, but I don't want to. And when I look through it here, I can see sunspots. It's really cool. So it's an 80 millimeter apochromatic telescope made by Astrotech. This one over here is a 40 millimeter. Is it getting loud?
Fine.
All right. This is a 40 millimeter personal solar telescope made by Coronado. And what this does is it has a filter on the front to block out all those harmful rays, as well as a filter in here to tune out just the right wavelengths of light so that we can see prominences coming off the edge of the sun. So we can actually see the fire coming off the sun. That's not what this will allow us to do. This one is meant for a different wavelength. It's meant to allow us to see sunspots, little spots on the surface of the sun. This one does it too, but it's also for the fire. This is a mount right here, the LX65 mount that tracks for us. And it will guide the telescopes and make sure that the sun stays in view.
That's amazing. Whoa.
With freckles.
Okay.
Or dark spots.
Yeah, I see them. What are the freckles?
Guess.
Gas?
Guess. No, guess.
Oh, gas.
It's probably gas too, yeah.
Dead spots. I don't know.
Sure. Magnetic storms is what I understand them as. These are areas of the sun that are not emitting as much light as the rest of the sun.
Right.
And the filter on the telescope is so sensitive that it's going to make any area that's not as bright as the sun black.
Whoa. Okay.
That doesn't mean that they're really black. They're really bright if you were to look at it without the filter.
Right.
But they're going to be a little less bright than the rest of the sun.
Oh, wow.
There's one over here too.
So,
See it.
there's
They're all
one.
over the place, huh?
Yeah.
And you just need to look. Actually, I'm going to rotate this.
So besides the red moon, what else am I looking for?
That's the red sun.
Guess how heavy it is.
Sun,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Okay.
The flames, there's a
Seven.
solar flare at 10 o'clock.
7,000 pounds.
On the left-hand side at 10 o'clock, it's flaring up. Like that's a storm, it's a volcano.
Huh, a little bit.
You see it, Lynn?
Yeah.
And it changes all our atmosphere, it changes all our weather.
Interesting.
Wow.